Pacific Drive is described as a first-person driving survival game with your car as your only companion. And that mighty companion is the station wagon.
The developers have kept the story pretty vague to this point. We do know that there's an anomalous storm, and we are apparently tasked with either running headfirst into or out of the Olympic exclusion zone.
In 1947, the Olympic Peninsula became the staging ground for a promising new technology. As rumors of its utopian creation spread, so did stories about overnight evacuations, unsolved disappearances, and unnatural encounters.
The garage is your base of operations, with runs starting and ending there. With immersive sim elements, you're able to slap together your dream station wagon. What's funny to me is how much this game reminds me of House Flipper, in the way that you're actually in charge of physically upgrading your ride. This game feels tangible. Your car is a tangible thing that you're constantly putting tangible items on, so everything has meaning. Every time you get out to get something, it's with a purpose. But you're not able to do that without resource collection. You will use tools to gather items like car doors and trunks, and also some sciencey material that can be used to learn how to craft tools that allow you to gather more exotic materials. Resource collection feels like the equivalent to getting cells in a game like Dead Cells. Each run you gather resources to craft upgrades for your ride, and voila, there's your progression system. While most of your upgrading and repairing will take place in the garage, players will find themselves in a pinch and need to fix a flat or repair a damaged windshield on the fly.
Another interesting point in this game is the anomalies themselves. These anomalies act like skulls from the Halo series. Some of them will add difficulties to your game, or some of them might even be beneficial toward you. One of the anomalies I've heard of is an anomaly that inverts your controls, which can no doubt be tricky in a stressful situation like racing towards the gate.
The most important resource in the game are these energy anchors. With them, you can create gateways that will take you back to the garage, which will end that particular run and allow you to keep all your sweet loot you gathered. In classic roguelike fashion, with each run, the zone can potentially change as the anomalous activity is capable of shifting objects around within the map. The developers have said that the instability can remove whole mountain ranges and restructure them across the map from run to run. The antagonists in this game are robots, really bizarre robots. The ones we've seen in presentations haven't seemed like major threats, but rather nuisances meant to pick at your car, steal your loot, and make you a distracted driver. I'm assuming there'll be upgrades along the way to help us deal with enemies, but I doubt it'll be anything we aim and shoot. More likely some sort of way to disable or disrupt them. Dying in the zone returns you to the garage with no loot, a damaged car, and likely a bruised ego. I think where things get extra interesting is the crossing of survival and roguelike. I'm highly interested in seeing how this genre bending works out. For those who have a hard time getting into survival games due to feeling like progression is too slow, the run-based roguelike aspects could raise the tempo enough to make them appreciate the core of what a survival game is. On the other hand, those who feel roguelikes are a bit too breakneck in their pace could find that Pacific Drive's moment-to-moment management of inventory and freedom of exploring an open world help make runs feel more substantial. To me, that makes this game feel like it could potentially be an evolution of the genre.
It's fun to speculate the influences on this game, as it looks like the developers have put a lot of passion into this project. The vibe I'm getting from the setting itself with all the tall trees and the road is The Fog. Stephen King's The Fog. I don't know why, but I just feel like The Fog is the vibe I'm getting from driving. The aesthetics I get from the vehicle is very much Back to the Future, where you're not adding things that form fit. You're bolting things to the side of this vehicle. You're adding a holder for an extra gas can, things like that. I love that way that kind of looks like Demolition Derby. Also, another influence I like to point out is Firewatch, with being that your only communication with these NPCs are through the radio. This game has like a sense of loneliness to it. A sense of loneliness that I love in movies, and I'm interested to see how they play with it in a video game. You know, movies like Blade Runner 2049, where like it just emphasizes the loneliness of the main character. This game seems like it's going to do that with some of its eerie supernatural style enemies and then situations that you're put in. It'll play against the loneliness in having NPCs, but I wonder if you'll develop relationships with them like you do in Firewatch, because in Firewatch you become very attached to that woman on the other side of the radio. Or is it going to be like in other games like J. Jonah Jameson from the Spider-Man games? It's just going to be something you hear in the background and you fast forward or you don't even listen. Some of the questions we would like to have answered by this game: will the roguelike elements of the ever-changing roads and the multiple runs keep people coming back for more? In a game that looks lonely, will the NPCs on the radio draw you in? Will they even matter? On a gameplay level, will the progression feel meaningful enough? All these questions and more we are looking to have answered February 22nd, 2024, when the game releases on PlayStation and PC.
We want to thank you guys for watching and subscribing. We know we've been away for a while, but we're back. We're going to be consistent with content, and we want to know what you think about the video and what you think about the game, and also tell us about the games that excite you most this year. But until next time, you stay nerdy.